live and in color. Woo! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jim. Thank you so much for joining me. And sometimes, and I don't know if you're the same way, but sometimes in the throes of collecting excitement, I like to buy really weird shit. And this, quite honestly, is one of the weirdest things that I have bought in quite a long time. And what we're looking at here is the Loop Skywalker SK-01. It's different, it's wild, it's powerful, it's got a lot of cool features, and probably a lot of features that you really don't need. But if you like dancing lights, colorful RGBs, and fidget spinners and fidget toys, and well, you're probably gonna love this. You might not like the price, but let's break that down and talk about it here in the up close and personal desktop review.
Introducing the Luke Skywalker, it shines so bright. Dancing in the darkness, dancing in the night. It's like Studio 54 in my hands, but I'm not snorting any coke. 1600 lumens, it ain't no joke. Crazy ass gadget with all these color lights. It's disco time every night. Every night. Luke Skywalker, bring the funk. So many modes, making me drunk. Colors swirling around my head. They make it easy to find when it's next to your bed. I feel like a silly little girl giggling with glee. If you've handled one, I think you'll agree. Luke here has created the key for a wall of light that also entertains me. Is it a toy? Is it a tool? It's so much fun. Trying to describe it makes me feel like a fool.
I'm going to do this first half, or as long as I can last, being as serious and as professional as I possibly can. But this flashlight inside of this box brings out a childlike giddiness in me that, to be honest, I'm not sure how long I can hold it in. At some point, I am going to cave in and fall apart toward the end. Just allow me to enjoy myself. Now, Loop Universe, they make some wild, crazy stuff. Inside of here is the Loop Skywalker SK-01S, and I also have an SK-03 in my collection as well. And they are both crazy lights. There is a degree of practicality, there is a degree of function and impressive performance. However, this is a silly, crazy, fun light. It's for showing off, goofing around, all that kind of stuff. Now, here's the deal. When I ordered this, I had only known of the availability of it being what it says right here, a zoomable LEP flashlight. When I found it on Neil's Gadgets and I found what I thought was an unbelievable price, there's a reason for that, I jumped on it. I jumped on it fast. Unfortunately, a little too fast because I didn't read the full description apparently, because I did not get a zoomable LEP flashlight as I was expecting. That was the only way I knew this light was even made. I knew that you could buy the flashlight as an LEP and that you could buy an additional LED head. So that's what I did. I ordered this. And for another $90, I ordered the LED head. What did I get when this package arrived a little less than 2 weeks later? I received an LED flashlight with a second LED head. Now, I really do wish that they would have caught that at Neil's Gadgets and fired off an email and sent, and went, okay, you bought an LED flashlight and you bought an additional LED head. Are you sure that's what you wanted to do? But they didn't catch that, just as I didn't catch it. So here I am, and I have been angry at myself for months. Anyway, let's do a very fast unboxing. I'll show you what all comes in the packaging here, and then we'll get into the light.
Colors swirling around my head. They make it easy to find when it's next to your bed. I feel like a silly little girl giggling with glee. If you've handled one, I think you'll agree. Loop Gear has created the key for a wall of light that also entertains me. Is it a toy? Is it a tool? It's so much fun. Trying to describe it makes me feel like a fool. Is it a toy? Is it a tool? It's so much fun. Trying to describe it.
What makes this light so crazy and so desirable is the fact that it's like a schizophrenic instrument. There's so much going on here. You cannot define it as only one thing. It has a lot of different personalities and it fits a lot of different roles. Number one, if you're the anxious type, you have a fidget spinner in the tactical ring. You have a fidget spinner in the collar around the base of the head. You have another fidget toy back here on the extendable body and the releasing switch. But this actually does, believe it or not, serve a practical purpose, because now you can make it a larger light for a larger hand, and now you could do a tail stand with it, which you cannot do when it's collapsed because of this switch. Now the rear E switch has its own set of auxiliary RGB lights, as do the head. Now also you can see all the RGB LEDs in the head in the traditional manner, but there are also ports cut all the way around the head so you could see what it's doing from the sides as well. Pretty neat, pretty darn cool. Now, the tactical ring is used like any other normal tactical ring, and it has a ceramic bead on there that serves as a glass breaker. Then you have 4 more glass breakers here in the bezel. Now, I have man-sized hands, so I can't quite get that tactical ring all the way up onto the finger like you're supposed to be able to. But I can use it as a tactical ring for when I'm using the light. No problem at all. Also, something I've noticed that nobody else really discusses is you can put your thumb in there and it can cant off to the side, and you can do a traditional EDC handhold and have this extra secure grip on there. That I think is pretty darn cool as well. But here's the thing. If you don't like having that ring on there, or you don't like where it's at, you have options. Inside of that frosted white Ziploc bag that I showed you in the packaging is this little washer right here. And that washer is used to turn this screw, which is otherwise very, very difficult to get to. Now, you can loosen this screw quite simply with this washer, and then you can choose your desired position. Do you want it all the way back here where you can have your index finger in in the tactical ring? Yes, you can do that. Or you can slide it all the way forward. If you have big hands, small hands, or if you're only going to use it that way if it's extended, you could change your position on there entirely. And you can also... But here's the thing if you do that. Number one, you've got an additional fidget toy, I suppose, because that will continue to slide back and forth all day every time you touch it. But here's the other thing. If you're using it in that tactical hold where you're engaging the rear switch, which is how you're going to hold it because that is the only control switch for the modes, you're going to have to use these 2 fingers to grip nice and tight onto the head. Otherwise, if you don't, you just grab onto the body, it will try to extend that extra fidget toy there and make it where you can't reliably press the E-switch. So that could be kind of a pain in the butt. So yeah, you want to get a good grip on there And then, sure, you can use the light normally. But that's just, you're going to have to program yourself to do that. That's kind of a pain in the butt. It'll also help it carry in the pocket a lot more easily, because when you've got that tactical ring on there, I mean, let's face it, it's just too large to do anything practical with it. So I did all that extra work off camera so you didn't have to watch me fidget around with all that to get it back together and drop the washer onto the floor. Okay, so is this going to be a practical tool, or is it just going to be a fun toy? Well, sometimes it can be both, right? Let's talk about the different modes. Now, number one, from off, as long as you don't have it locked, locking is quad tap, 1, 2, 3, 4. To turn on, you simply press the tail switch. To turn off, you simply press it again. It's just that simple. Now, if you press and hold, you'll go into the 1 lumen moonlight mode. And once you've got it on, you have your low mode, low mode, high mode, low mode, high mode, and turbo. Now, if I want to start doing the crazy light stuff with the RGBs, realize that you're not controlling the tail switch and the head independent of one another. They are slaved to each other. So when you're changing the mode of the lights in the head, it's also going to change the mode of the lights in the tail. So all I'm going to do for that is I'm going to hold and press and hold until I see it do something, which is about 4 seconds or so. Then, in order to switch the modes that it's in, and I'm going to turn the light off here so you can see the modes a little bit more easily. This is the color changing pulse. I'm going to hold it for about 4 seconds. And now I'm in the slow disco for the head. Well, it's kind of like a kaleidoscope, really. And then the rear is going to be the circling, the swirling blue. Hold it again to change it. Now it's going to flash each of the colors and alternate through each of the colors. And back here is going to be the breathing blue. Hold down again. Now I've got the swirling red for the tail. And here I have the fast cycling of the teal blue. Hold it down again. Fast cycling of the purple. And then I've got the breathing, pulsing red on the tail. Hold it down again. Now I've got the racing lime green. And back here I have flashing and alternating through all of the different colors. Now I've got the racing blue with the racing spinning blue in the tail. That's about the only one I think that really matches up. And now we're going to have the racing full green, and we'll get the breathing pulse blue in the tail switch. Hold it down again. And now the racing, swirling, circling red on both the head and the tail. And now we have that nice slow pulse of the blue. Slow pulse of the purple. Slow pulse of the green. Slow pulse of the blue. And the tail will match up to that. Slow pulse of the full green, and then you have the racing, spinning, circling red in the tail. There's the pulsing, breathing red. Same for the green. And now it's slowly alternating between all of the colors. It's like a slow scroll through the colors with the spinning, circling blue in the back. Pulsing blue, pulsing red, and then here you have the fast disco. And every few cycles, it gives you a flash of full brightness in the white, which is quite bright, pretty crazy. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It does a lot of stuff. So there's the party tricks, right? There's the parlor tricks. There's all the craziness that it does. Now let's talk about its actual, real, true performance. Starting with the Moonlight. 5 hours and 1 minute, they say. It's a possibility. Low and high. Low, which is your 150 lumens. 3 hours and 35 minutes, they say. And then on the high, you've got 600 lumens for an hour and 5 minutes, they say. And double click to turbo is 1600 lumens, which lasts for about 30 seconds. Then it's going to step down to its high mode of 600 lumens. And then it will run for the full high runtime. So I think the real question is, how much performance do you get out of this light on an 18350 battery, which is exactly what this is running on. All you do is pop it out, plug in your charger that's included in the box into the battery, and then up here in the button top, it'll be red when you first plug it in when it needs to charge. And when it's fully charged, that will turn green. Then you can just pop it back in and get it all back together. Now, the overall build quality of this thing is pretty nice. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you're wondering if you could justify the price based on the quality of the light, I would say on that part, absolutely 100% yes. And this is the cheaper of the two options. Your options are either aluminum or titanium. The titanium was no longer available when I came across this, so I had to buy the aluminum. The machining is precise and it's beautiful. There are no tool marks anywhere on this that I have seen. The anodizing is fantastic. They did a great job and picked a nice color scheme as well. I do still really love the ports that they put in around the head so that you can see the LED action through the sides. The fitment of all these crazy, weird, spinny things is also pretty awesome. The integration of the glass breakers, also well done. I mean, altogether, this was a very well put together light, nice high quality. I like the fact that it's fun and it's crazy and it's wild. And anytime I pull this out and I start showing people all the crazy stuff it does, it's gonna drop jaws because we all like high-tech, cool whiz-bang gadgets. And then also, if I'm taking this outside to actually do real work with it and try to light things up, it works really, really well. It's got a decent amount of throw. It's about 500 meters of throw with this LED. Now with the LEP, of course, it's nearly a full mile, which is why I wanted the LEP. But the LED is still a good performer, so it's got a good amount of throw, a nice hot spot, and a good amount of spill, so it lights up your surrounding area very, very nicely so that it makes it a solid choice to use if you're out walking the dog or looking for something you dropped in the grass earlier in the evening, whatever. It's actually going to be a good, useful light. Now, let's get it outside and see what it actually does to perform. Okay, now we're going to see how this performs outside. We'll start with low. You see a nice defined hot spot there and very easy to see the spill. Nice wide spill, keeping in mind that this is on low. Now we'll switch to high. Quite a substantial range on this. Now let's compare that to another 18350 I have in my pocket, and that's my Rook. there that is on high. Much floodier, almost no discernible hot spot whatsoever. Nice wide wall of light. And you notice it doesn't have a lot of throw. Popping the Loop Skywalker back up in high. I'm going to start walking in high, and then you'll get to see some turbo action when I get out there.
Introducing the Luke Skywalker, it shines so bright, dancing in the darkness, dancing in the night. It's like Studio 54 in my hands, but I'm not snorting any coke. 1600 lumens, it ain't no joke. Crazy ass gadget with all these colored lights. It's disco time every night. Every night. Luke Skywalker, bring the funk. So many modes, making me drunk. Colors swirling around my head. They make it easy to find when it's next to your bed. I feel like a silly little girl giggling with glee. If you've handled one, I think you'll agree. Luke here has created the key for a wall of light that also entertains me. Is it a toy? Is it a tool? It's so much fun. Trying to describe it makes me feel like a fool. Is it a toy? Is it a tool? It's so much fun. Trying to describe it makes me feel like a fool. Luke Skywalker, bring the funk.
Now we'll move on to the walk and talk section. Okay, here we go. Using this on low, you can see that I've got plenty of room to wander. Walking down my driveway, you can see all the way across it. Bump it up on high. Easy to see way up into the trees. And how are we looking down there at a distance? There's definitely a lot more spill than I expected there to be. I definitely expected a good amount of throw out of this. Now let's see what the neighbors think. Yep, that's nuts. Definitely a wonderful surprise with this size of light. Now, I've had this light for a couple of months, but I haven't had the opportunity to really take it outside and do much with it. It's kind of just sat in my collection because I tend to carry smaller, more pocketable lights with me. Well, I think I'm going to have to change things up just a little bit and get this one out there and have more fun with it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.